right, welcome everybody to the January 2022, which is actually kind of hard to say, Board of Commissioners meeting. It's now 5:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order to get it started. Thank everybody again for coming, for being here as we kick off the new year with a bang is what it seems like. I know it feels kind of weird with everybody being back in masks. It seems like it's been a year ago that most of us had these on. Unfortunately, with the current surge of cases and especially current surge of employee cases that we've had, we've been trying our best to be cautious. So if you are a lip reader and I don't speak loud enough, I apologize. I've never been accused of being quiet, so I hope that you're able to hear me as we go through. As we kick off, we always open with a prayer, with an invocation. So I've asked Mr. Kirk Anderson, if he would, to lead us in our invocation and get us started.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for letting us gather together. Please, Lord, I first ask you to lay your healing hands on all those that are sick and in need in our neighborhood right now. We know that you have the power to heal them. Please, Lord, watch over these proceedings. Please, Lord, give us the wisdom and the guidance to go in the direction that you would have us to go, and let us be good stewards over this neighborhood that we call our home. In that heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Kirk. I know Lieutenant Leak, I think, is in the back. If you would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if you looked over the agenda, there are quite a few items that are on there. Normally we can fit it on one or two screens that come up behind us. I think tonight's actually has 4 screens. A lot of those are things that have to be done at the beginning of every year with reappointments. So we're going to kind of stay on track with working our way through the agenda as we go, and we'll work our way through there as we go. Under amendments to the agenda, I do have one amendment that we need to add, one that we didn't have the appointment of a vice chair to appoint Jerry Barnes as vice chair of the Board of Commissioners. So I'd like to ask that we add that to the agenda under item N, under action items. So item N under action items will be that appointment. So as we go through, we'll hit that as we go through. Under the consent agenda, I don't have any items for there.
No.
Okay. Under old business, no old business that I'm aware of. We'll move past that. Under new business, item A, we have the GDOT agreement under American Rescue Plan Act funding. This is a grant that's for airports through the Department of Transportation, working through Georgia Department of Transportation. And they took a portion of the funds that were provided from the federal government. I think statewide they had $3,458,000 to distribute out amongst local airports for different maintenance projects. Pickens County's share of that particular grant, which is separate from any other funds that have came to the government, was $32,000. So it's not a large grant, but it is a grant that's there. And we actually need to have a vote in order to authorize me to sign that agreement with GDOT. So I would like to make a move that we move forward with accepting these funds that they've offered. Have a second.
Good.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Next item on our agenda tonight is the fiscal agent contract for Family Connections. We serve as the primary fiscal agent for Family Connections, have for years, and it just needs to be updated each year so that any funds that they need to go through would actually come through the county. So do I have a move to serve as the fiscal agent for Family Connections? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries as well. Next item on our agenda is our finance report. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Ms. Charlene Bunch to let her go through that.
Okay, the December 2021 budget reflects 12 months of the 2021 fiscal year. Our general revenue for 2021, as you can see, compared to 2020. In 2020, we received $31.6 million, where in 2021 we received $35.1 million. We actually received in 2021, $35,059,985, which is 120.13% of the budget. A lot of that was due from the American Rescue Plan that we received $3.1 million, and we received about $250,000 from state federal funding. The total expenditures for, as you can see, from 2020 was $30 million, which was 94.2% of the budget. Where compared to 2021, we were at 26.8% of the budget, which was 26.8 million, I apologize, which was 92.20% of the budget. A lot of that was due to 2020, where we had to expend out a lot of the COVID expenditures for COVID-related supplies. The governmental expenditures for 2021 were $4,052,357, which was 98.90% of the budget. Your judicial expenditures were $3,724,388, which was 94.60% of your budget. Public safety and expenditures, $13,427,002, which was 90% of the budget. Public works was $3,533,133, which was 91.53% of the budget. Health and welfare expenditures were $179,464, which was 62.5% of the budget. Culture and recreation, $1,187,688, which was 104.47% of the budget. Housing and development expenditures were $782,844, which was 84.78% of the budget. And your enterprise funds was $3,723,211, which was 100.7% of the budget. You'll see in some of these slides, a few of them, the departments were over budget due to salaries. The county did a $3,000 bonus to each county employee. That was actually charged out to the departments. The departments did not include that in their budget, but the overall expenditures were 7.8% under the allowable budget for the county-wide. With that being said, I also have the line budget reports that were sent out to the department heads and elected officials, and I have those for your review, if you'd like to see them.
Thank you, Ms. Charlene. Do you have any questions? I do want to commend Charlene and her team in the finance department. As you can see, the percentage levels that we're at, all the department heads did an outstanding job last year. We still have a couple more months for us to go through and finalize some of the expenditures for 2021. So our final numbers, I think we have through March for anything that we'll go through from there. So our final numbers will be a part of our audited account whenever that's finalized. But they've done an outstanding job. I mean, to come in at 8 to 9% under budget under those. That's on the expense side. That's not showing the difference in the revenue increase that came from the grants that were there. So I've got to commend you and your team and all the department heads for your hard work. It's been phenomenal to go through and see what y'all done. So thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is actually to then, I jumped one too many, is to go through our audit selection to select our auditor, our audit firm for 2022. We do have a resolution. The local act does state that we have a limited number of years that we can have an auditor serve within the county. That term had expired prior to last year. In May of last year, we had a public meeting and described that we would be reaching out to have a new audit firm to come in for this year. We do have a resolution that is put together. The The county's previous audit firm, Bates Carter and Company, served as auditor from 2013 to 2020, which is a period of consecutive years exceeding the 4-year legal limitation. So we did have to move forward in May of 2021 to begin the process of trying to identify another one. We did receive qualifying proposals from 3 different audit firms. One was Malden and Jenkins LLC. The second was Nichols, Colley and Associates. And the third was Rushton LLC. The staff of Pickens County Government evaluated the proposals, detailed and analyzed comparable relevant data from all the peer counties that were listed from each of these firms. Through this process, Rushton LLC was determined as the current best alternative to serve as the next auditor for the Pickens County Government in the integrated base of technical qualifications, staffing approach to the audit, comparable reference county clients in Georgia, and the proposed value related to the proposed cost. Obviously, when you're evaluating bids, you do want to look at the bottom line and see what those bids, and Rushton came in as the best price. But in an audit firm, that's not always the only thing that you want to look at. Comparable reference counties that they provided were several similar sized counties to ours that they've worked with agencies and departments that are similar to us. Reached out and received raving reviews from each of those when those were moving forward. So in a resolution, now therefore be it resolved that the Pickens County Board of Commissioners approves the selection of Rushton LLC as the next audit firm to conduct future audits for Pickens County within the limitations set forth in Section 1.7 of the Local Act of Pickens County, which limits to 4 years. And that the Pickens County Board of Commissioners authorizes myself as chairman to execute an engagement letter to retaining Rushton LLC. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve a resolution to engage Rushton LLC to become our new auditor. All right, I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We will move forward with reaching out to get them up and going. Charlene will get no sleep for the next few months because the auditors will be in her office from that point forward. Next item under our minutes is to approve minutes from past meetings. We do have 3 different sets of meetings, minutes that have been distributed to the Board of Commissioners. Regular meeting and a work session from December the 16th and a called meeting on December the 21st. So do I have a move that we approve the minutes from the previous meetings for the month of December? All right, I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. That carries as well. All right, so we're going to move through several appointments as we go through. A lot of these are annual requirements. Some actually have specifics to what we go through. I'm going to do these broken apart, some by individual, but then when we get to the different boards, we'll do it collectively as the board to go through. So the first is the reappointment of Ms. Lesa Thomason to serve as our county clerk for the Board of Commissioners for the year 2022. I'll make a move that we reappoint Ms. Lesa as our clerk. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. That carries. Sorry, you get to keep taking minutes.
Great.
The second is the appointment of Karen Wheeler to serve as the Deputy County Clerk for the Board of Commissioners in the event of Ms. Lisa's absence, to have a backup in place. I'll make a move that we reappoint her. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Did you say it?
I get there.
Okay. All right. Motion carries. I didn't hear you on that one. The third appointment for 2022 is to reappoint Mr. Phil Landrum to serve as the county attorney for the Board of Commissioners for the year 2022. I'll ask for a move this time. Do I have a move to reappoint Mr. Landrum? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries as well. All right, so as we move into the different boards, first we'll start with the Recreation Board. 5 of the individuals have asked to be able to continue serving. Those individuals are Ms. K. Reece, Mr. David Finney, Chad Goss, Tyler Mitton, and Kyle Haradon. We did have one other that wanted their term expired, and I'd like to move that we appoint Mr. Ben Pickering to serve that vacancy on the Board of Recreation. That is for a 2-year appointment in that particular order. So that would be those 6 individuals: Reece, David Finney, Chad Goss, Tyler Mitton, Kyle Haradon, and Ben Pickering for the Parks and Recreation Board. Do I have a move to make those appointments? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next board is the Water and Sewer Authority. It's a 3-year term. Move to reappoint Mr. John Tatum, Jimmy Green, and Greg Long to continue serving on the Water and Sewer Board. I'll make a move that we appoint those. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries as well. Next is a reappointment for position E of the Board of Tax Assessors. The Tax Assessor Board is for a 5-year term. Mr. Brian Armour has served in that capacity. I'd like to make a move that we reappoint Brian Armour onto the Tax Assessor Board. Any further discussion? Say, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. The next is our Planning Commission. It's a 4-year term on the Planning Commission. Mr. Jim Fowler and Ms. Pat Holmes have both requested the opportunity to continue serving there as well. So I'd like to make a move that we reappoint Jim Fowler and Pat Holmes to the Planning Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. As well. Next is the Development Authority. Development Authority is actually a 6-year term that's continued for there. We have 2 reappointments for that as well. Ms. Lori Shaw and Mr. Don Bogus have both asked for an opportunity to continue serving in their capacities there. I'll make a move that we reappoint Lori Shaw and Don Bogus to the Development Authority. Thanks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We're getting close. Next is the Board of Family and Children's Services, a 5-year term. Mr. Michael White has served from the county's representative and is willing to continue to serve as well. So I'd like to make a move that we reappoint Mr. Michael White to serve on the Board of Family and Children's Services. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Carries. Next is the joint City of Jasper and Pickens County Land Bank Authority. The city and the county both have appointments that go on there. These terms are for a 4-year term. Mr. Bill Brown and Miss Amy Smith have served for the county's portion of that and are up to be reappointed. I'd like to make a move that we reappoint Bill and Amy to serve on that as well. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. All right. Next is the Pickens and Gilmer Joint Development Authority. It's a 4-year term. Mr. Todd Payne has served in that capacity. And I guess I could have moved to the slides so y'all can follow along as we're going through. Mr. Todd Payne has served in that capacity with the Pickens and Gilmer Joint Development Authority very actively and has expressed a willingness to continue to serve. Do I have a move that we reappoint Mr. Payne on that one? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Before he runs out the back door, the next one is the reappointment to the Northwest Georgia EMS Council. It's a 2-year term. Our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Sloan Elrod. I didn't actually ask him, but we're going to go ahead and move to reappoint Mr. Sloan Elrod to the EMS Council before he has a chance to object. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion with the exception of Mr. Elrod? All in favor? Aye. You can continue. All right, so the other item, item N, that does not show up on the agenda on the screen is the amendment to the agenda prior to the beginning, and that was to have Mr. Jerry Barnes serve as the vice chairperson for the commissioners for the year 2022. It was a tough decision to come up with who was going to serve as vice chair this year in the midst, but after much debate, Jerry's name came up. So I'd like to make a move that Mr. Barnes serve as our vice chairman for 2022. Do I have a second? I knew he wouldn't do it. That was the part I was expecting all along. All right, any further discussion on that? All in favor? All right, aye. Motion carries. That's always the fun part when you go into the month of January, is to tackle appointments. We actually did split it up. We have a few more that need to be finalized, and we need to continue to reach out to a couple of individuals that will go into our February meeting. So when we have our February meeting, we will have a couple more appointments that need to be continued as well. Next item on our agenda is to move into the rezones. We have three different rezones. Two are connected, one separate. We're going to move into those. The first rezone that we have is a request for change in land use classification for parcel 068114 at Buchanan Road, Ball Ground, Georgia. Pickens County Development Office received an application on October the 29th from Mr. James Miller requesting a change in land use classification from rural residential to agricultural on a 20.61 acre tract located on Buchanan Road. The intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was to meet the requirements necessary for a conditional use permit. A public hearing was held on the 13th of December regarding the application. After reviewing the application and receiving staff report recommending the zoning change to be approved, the Pickens County Planning Commission voted 6 yes, 0 no to approve the rezone request on the 20.61 acre tract contained on tax map parcel 068114. That's what's carried forward to us. So we had 6 yes, 0 no to approve a rezone request to move from residential to agricultural. Do I have a move to approve this rezone request? I'll make a move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, so that moves that to a rezone request. The second item on the agenda is for a conditional use permit on parcel 068114 Buchanan Road, Ball Ground, Georgia. Same client, Mr. James Miller, requested a conditional use permit on the 20.61 acre tract located on Buchanan Road that we just described. The hearing was held on December the 13th, 2021. After reviewing the application and receiving staff report recommending conditional use to be approved, the Pickens County Planning Commission voted 1 yes, 5 no to approve the conditional permit, meaning that it actually was denied with a 5-to-1 vote by the Planning Commission for that rezone. The purpose was to create an event center. What was the request was to create an event center in that area. And again, that was 1 yes and 5 no on approval, which in the equivalent of the way that breaks down was a vote to deny. I'll make a move that we deny the rezone request for the conditional use permit on Buchanan Road. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, that moves us to rezone request for parcel 044A-015, 344 Mint Tree Drive in Jasper. The Pickens County Planning and Development Office received an application on October the 26th from True Tony, and I know I'm going to butcher the name. When? I do apologize. I should have practiced that before we came in. Requesting a change in the land use classification on rural residential to highway business on 2.83 acre tract located at 344 Mint Tree Drive. Intended purpose of the rezone request, if approved, was for future development of one climate controlled storage building. The public hearing was held on December the 13th. And the planning commission, upon reviewing the application and receiving staff report recommending the zoning change to be approved, Pickens County Planning Commission voted 4 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstain to approve the rezone request on the 2.83 acre tract contained on the tax parcel. As this one moves forward and prepares for a motion, we've received a ton of different information, but I think the most important thing for me as we move to making the motion was the review of our comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan that was established in 2018 was with significant input from the public and from committees that define character areas throughout the community and define how that information and where zoning, future zoning should take place. And I think that as we look through that, if we don't use that as a guide, we create a difficult decision for any future decisions. If we do use that as a guide, it kind of sets the tone for the direction that we can move forward. Typically, as we make a motion, we don't always give a description, but I think anytime we're going to make a motion that might go against any recommendation, I do think it requires definition as to why we're doing that. So I would like to make a move that we deny the rezone request that's been presented to us based on that. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. The motion carries. The motion's denied. So next item on our agenda is guest comments. I'd like to open up the floor to any guest comments that anyone might have. Go forward. Yes, sir.
Thank you for understanding the master plan. I appreciate that. Good job.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for y'all's patience, for your understanding, and for doing the right thing. Thank you very much. And I know that we have worn y'all out. But please just understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Stanza, Bob Morris, we created a lot of emails. Thank you, sir. Made the right decision.
It's nice to put a face to the email name.
Yes.
All right, so without, and I'll open it up, any more discussion, any other comments? We do have an item that we do need to go into executive session to discuss. And I'm going to go through and read the affidavit information prior to going into that. We need to go into executive session in order to discuss or vote to authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, or lease property, authorize ordering an appraisal related to the acquisition or disposal of real estate, enter into a contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property subject to approval in subsequent public vote, or enter into an option to purchase, dispose of, or lease real estate subject to the approval of a subsequent public vote. So at this time, I would like to move that we go into executive session to review these items.
We say, tell me you want to run for office, will you?
Was made by myself, seconded by Jerry Barnes, to come out of executive session at 6:21. That motion carried 2-0 with no further action taken. Do I have a motion to approve the executive session minutes as read? I'll second those. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. So it is now 6:25, I believe, 6:24. I'll make a move that we adjourn. Thank you. Thank you all for sticking around and staying with us.